Being remote hosts, one thing that we work really hard to do is always to make sure that our property is in top shape. One way we do this is we visit the property multiple times a year. This allows us to work on projects at the property, monitor what's going on a little bit more closely, and also we're able to then use that time to incorporate guest or cleaner feedback into some changes or modifications to tweak the property to get it to be a better fit for our guest persona.
So we have memory foam mattresses on these beds, and it's a total Goldilocks situation where some guests think they are too hard and some guests think they are amazing. So we want to please both people as much as we possibly can. So we got this mattress topper, which is like a feathered, fitted sheet almost to go underneath a mattress pad. And that way it's getting a little bit of softness for those who want it to be a little softer, but still keep the true memory foam feel of the mattress. Our goal is to always incorporate our guest feedback and make tweaks every single time we're here to just continue to improve the property and make it exactly the experience that our guests are hoping for.
One thing our guests and cleaners have been saying is that it has been a little bit hard to keep track of the propane on the gas grill. A lot of times that the propane feels like it has enough fuel in it, and depending on the length of the guest stay, it might run out towards the end of the stay, so we're trying to alleviate that. So we end up buying the gas propane, we put it in line with the hose to the tank, and it allows us to track the gas a lot more accurately in the propane tanks. And so this will allow our cleaners just to quickly reference the gauge instead of having to try to lift the tank up, gauge the weight, and see if it works. So this is one thing that I think is a really easy and inexpensive tweak. So I just exchanged the empty one for a full one. I usually keep like 3 or so of these at the property to give us plenty of extra tanks in case one runs out. The gas won't actually read here until you turn this on, and then you can see full gas in green. So you're all set. So that's a super easy way to check and monitor your tanks. Another issue we've been having is the ice maker on the freezer hasn't been working, and turns out it was actually an electrical component that was triggered by this. Here has a laser that runs from there to here. And it was not working anymore, and then it was also leaking, causing calcium buildup here. So luckily that is all sorted. We've been working on getting parts for months, and we finally got parts and a tech to replace it, and now it's all fixed. So we don't need to have ice trays for the guests anymore, but that's a big win in our books. So we had a water leak that we found that was down at the base of this plant. It turns out it was coming from the drip system when the drip system was running. So we got that rectified, but it was puddling up at the base of the plant. And we don't want to kill the plant. We don't want to be wasting water, especially in the desert. So luckily we were able to catch that early and get that fixed. And the other thing we found as we were investigating the water system, water leaks, is right here we actually had a water leak coming out of this valve down there that we're getting a replacement part for. But what was happening was when the water was running, it was slowly leaking, and the rubber had actually disintegrated around the valve that goes under it. So we thought maybe it was a drip system up here at the plants. It wasn't. It was actually a valve in the water main. So as it goes with the old houses, one project turns into a much larger project than initially expected. So the leak project we were fixing became a big project. So the leak in here is fixed, and that was the gasket. This side we have a gasket in there that failed too. And then this had to be pulled up because it was sitting on this pipe. So basically at the end of the day, we're just replacing everything that was put in the 70s, making it all much better. But basically things fail all kind of at the same time with old houses, and that's just part of it. So everything is put back together and the leaks are fixed. So if you have a rental property with a brick driveway, another great trick is if you have any guests or other vehicles that come to the property that leak oil, is having cat litter on hand. It actually helps soak up the oil and so it doesn't stay in the driveway, so I throw it down and I see the marks to help keep the driveway looking good. I'm in the pool area right now, so it might be a little hard to hear me, but one thing we ended up doing was replacing this pump to variable speed, a new pump system. This heater is actually new, we replaced it last year. And the reason being is we want to make sure that we don't have any downtime on our pool setup, so that way everything's working super efficiently, and we're also upgrading the house to make sure everything is newer. And then the other thing we do is we have this Wi-Fi system that allows us to remotely control all the systems and monitor them, so when we're not here we can make sure everything's working as it's supposed to be. Cable run up into the driveway, and we're pulling up a path to run the cable all the way over there to the hill, and then down the side and then up the hill because we needed an alternative route to do this job. We couldn't get the cable company to come out and actually finish the job, so we had our guy do it. So the cable's all buried under here, up the hillside. It's all underneath on the side of the driveway, but buried on the hillside, up the hill up there, and then along the road, which is really great. So that project is now all complete. It's actually been 6 months of us working on this with trying to get the cable company contractors out here. And we decided just to have our person do it at this point because it just was not happening or getting done. So this is where the cable line runs up, just along here. It's all buried now. See the fresh dirt that was dug up. Runs underground here along the road. This is the path of least resistance, and then goes to cable box right here. Feeds in right there with the orange cable. And it's so great that all this is buried now underground. The theme of this trip really is leaks. So this is our propane tank, which is quite, a decent size. It ends up feeding the hot tub pool heater, but it's built in 1979. So the valve finally went out and we started getting a slow leak. Not a big deal, but something we want to fix. So we're actually going to have the propane company come and replace the valve. Even with all the work being done, it's really nice to appreciate the amazing view.